You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We have a special guest in the building.
Yes, and this woman gets more death threats than me.
Eboni K. Williams.
And that's hard to do.
Man, Eboni
Good
tweeted.
morning, y'all.
Good morning, Eboni. Eboni tweeted that she was going to be on The Breakfast Club yesterday, or maybe it was this morning. I think it was yesterday.
It was like late. It was like maybe
last night.
12.
Thank you.
And my whole timeline since then has been just white conservatives
Some
calling
trolls.
for your death.
Some trolls.
Yes.
Some haters.
Yes.
Haters are real.
Why do they hate you so much?
Man, let me tell you, I spent 5 years on and off Fox News as a contributor, as a guest, as a host of the show, The Fox News Specialist. And more or less, it was all good, right? You know, they never necessarily agree with my politics. I'm a little left of center. But overall, it was like, we appreciate you're coming from a legal space. You're coming with the facts. We appreciate your point of view.
I know what happened.
And tell that docket.
I do too.
Yeah.
That docket. The docket that I wrote responding to the president of Charlottesville, what I thought was a cowardly and dangerous response.
As a lot of us did.
And boy, I tell you, what's crazy, y'all, is if you watch the clip, that day on the show, there was not a lot of controversy on the actual panel in terms of my co-host. Everybody was like, more or less, we get where you're coming from. But the second I left set, y'all, it was like bananas. It was. I've literally never seen anything like it. And I work at Fox News.
Yeah,
so that's saying a lot.
They're saying you should meet your maker soon. You shouldn't be allowed to walk on the streets of New York.
It
Harlem
just
better
shows
be
you
careful.
really-
Harlem better be
Yeesh.
careful. Yeah.
Fox News is so different than
Yeah.
anywhere else. To criticize the president for something that you said initially his response was cowardly
Yeah.
in Charlottesville, and people are mad about that? Like,
What they got mad about, y'all, was I think a specific line where I said that I believe, my belief, and my calculated analysis on the facts I've seen, because I was willing to give the president a lot of doubt, like way more doubt than most, for a long time. And I know about the Central Park Five, and I know, when he said the federal judge couldn't do his job because he was Latino, that was like, come on,
Yeah.
brother. That's like
Right.
classic
Craziness.
textbook
You even tweeted that we
racism.
should support him.
Well, I said we should, I said we should pray for him.
Pray for him. Yes, you did.
No, I did not say we should
I
support him
would
because I don't
never
support
waste
him.
my prayers on that devil.
Well, I'm a Southern Christian gal, Charlamagne,
Me
so we
too.
pray for
Well, not
everybody,
a gal,
including
but Southern Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah,
movement.
yeah. we pray for everybody, including the enemy. But anyway, but I couldn't on that note on that day, and I said that I believe the president, whether he's a racist or not. A lot of people get caught up in whether Donald J. Trump is a racist. Personally, I don't give a damn if he's a racist or not. What I believe is that he's okay to personally avail himself to the benefits of racists, but politically speaking. He so values that part of his base. That's an important word, that part of his base, which is inclusive. We know of David Duke and the like, that he will not offend them by any means necessary. And that's the part, though, Angela, that had my Fox News viewership up in arms and saying that I called them all racist and how dare I. That's crazy.
Right.
Because my mother's a Trump supporter. And,
Really?
we absolutely. And she's another proud Southern black woman, lifetime Democrat, no less, small business owner. We disagree on it vehemently, but she supports him.
Why
She's
is
grown.
she a Trump supporter?
She felt that he would be the best chance of tax reform and being a disruptor to Washington. She's somebody that believes all politicians are corrupt. She probably thinks most people have some suspect tendencies when it comes to the well-being of our community, if you read between all those lines.
Racist against black people.
Right.
She still supports him now with everything that's been going on.
I think it's been tough. I can't speak to her political support directly, but I can tell you that this has been a challenge. And so, no, I don't think all Trump supporters are racist, but I believe that the president absolutely is okay with that part of his base, and he will not offend them for any means necessary.
I don't believe all Trump supporters are racist either, but
But all racists are Trump supporters. That's true.
that is
Okay,
true.
there you go.
But I do feel like people have to admit when they made a mistake.
Yeah,
like
and
it's okay to
okay.
admit that you
And it's
that you
okay.
voted for him and you were wrong.
Correct. Yeah. I don't think my mother would go that far. She would probably vehemently bust through this door right now if I said that and defend it. But that is what it is. But they're trolling and they're mad.
Now, you've had to have security now escort you into the office.
Welcome to my world.
Has
Yeah.
anything like legitimately physically happened to you? Have you?
Real threat.
Somebody came. So I host a talk radio show at WABC in the city as well.
Noon to 3.
And someone came in, literally, physically came in and tried
In
to
the studio?
present to the lobby. You know, you got to check in. Thank God for that
Right.
process. And somebody was like, he doesn't have any guests today. And so they caught him and they got him on camera and they're aware of his face and name and NYPD's on board. So.
That's
But
crazy.
we have people come up here, actually, right?
All
Two
the
people
time.
get up here, actually.
Yeah, one did once. One time. But you think the backlash you received was because of your Trump comments, but also because you're a black woman on Fox News, so they probably was just waiting for a reason.
Sure.
to attack you
In that sense, I think that I've always been very deliberate, y'all. You know, I get that question a lot. Why would you choose to be on Fox News, right? And the reason is rather simple. I feel that we should be in all spaces. We being Black folks, being a Black person with an authentic point of view, in particular, well-being for our community's representation, because representation matters. We all know that. That's why we probably work in this business. So that was by design. And I think for 4 or 5 years, I was always honest and authentic, but very measured in the way I spoke about certain issues and certain political junctions. And when I let it out in the docket in a way that I knew would be more uncomfortable, more of a direct association to it, it was felt. And I think they were, Charlamagne. I think they were very put off by this. Who do you think you are? I've been called like uppity. I'm like, what? It's 2017. Y'all call people uppity? You know, like really, for real? And I think the audacity of me as a Black woman by the name of Eboni, no less, working at Fox News, speaking that brazenly about what I know and what I think was offensive to many.
Yeah, I mean, you know, have you experienced a lot of prejudice like within Fox News as well?
I have not. No, I can't say that. I think, you know, we all work in media. You know, the internal politics of that can be challenging at times. But generally speaking, I will say to the network's credit, after the backlash of the docket, they reached out, you know, they offered the security, you know, they definitely, you know, made sure that I felt taken care of.
How do Black people treat you? Because, like you said, it is Fox News. So a lot of times, I'm not even listening to the rhetoric that comes out of this person's mouth. I see a Black woman on Fox News, Black person, I'm labeling them Uncle Tom, I'm labeling them a coon, because they work at Fox.
Yeah, and I don't think that's like crazy. You know, Fox has well earned a reputation of skepticism around the way they address us in our community. But again, the answer is, for a while, I felt ignored by the Black community. I'm gonna have a little bone to pick with you, Charlamagne. I know that you're friends with Kennedy. And she's somebody, so I've seen you in the green room multiple times, and I saw you, I'm a big, huge fan of you and the entire show. And so I approached you and I introduced myself. This was like a year and a half ago during the campaign. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I would love to come on the Breakfast Club or come on any of your platforms and discuss my experience being a young Black woman working at Fox News covering this crazy freaking election. And I reached out a couple times, but I know you're very busy, so I let it go. But then another mutual friend, Tommy Lauren, came on, and you know the tweet you sent out.
Friend.
Here we go.
Well, mutual acquaintance. Mutual acquaintance.
Media acquaintance.
Media acquaintance. And I've interviewed Tommy too, so no shade. But then your
She's never been on the show though.
Okay,
He went on her show.
He went on her show. I know, but I guess the social media and the
She was
tweet.
supposed to come up here, though. He did invite her up here.
She canceled.
And she canceled.
She canceled.
Yeah, but the tweet of, you know, you wished women of color used their platforms in a similar way to Tommy. I was really offended.
Let me say what I said.
Here we go.
I want a woke woman of color to have a platform to control our narratives the way Tommy Lauren
does for her community.
Yes.
Fair enough. And I guess I felt disappointed in that, Charlamagne, because I felt, I know I'm not the only one. A lot of us are trying to.
A lot of women of color felt disappointed by that.
Yeah, because we are aggressively like knocking on doors, like banging this thing down. I know I'm over here grinding at Fox.
She was given that platform.
She was given it, and then I look at you or Trevor Noah or other, you know, of our community that, you know, don't necessarily support her views. I'm not saying that at all, but certainly provide more eyeballs.
A platform for her, right.
But
So
she was
that's
already
all.
getting hundreds of thousands of views on Facebook.
Absolutely. I'm not saying you
that.
made Tommy, not at all. But I'm just saying that was, I'm just straight up.
You
it was
amplified her.
I was in my feelings
That's
a
not
bit.
true.
It felt that way. Just, and I don't believe that was your intention, Charlamagne, at all. But just from the outside looking in, I was like, well, damn. You know?
I already approached you. I reached out.
Yeah, I reached out.
How
I
come you
followed
didn't
up.
email her back?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't do my emails. I'm sure. I don't know why.
I didn't take
know.
that
You
personally.
should have emailed me.
I should have. But I didn't take that personally. It was just more the comment. And then I was really happy to see subsequent that Angela Rye and different people,
That's
you
my
know,
sister.
being absolutely. So
Yes.
that made me happy. So whether it
And
was
that
me
was
or
actually
not.
the catalyst for him
Yes.
meeting Angela Rye.
I figured as much. And so even though I'm just coming today, it's not about that. It's the collective. So to see Angela Rye or other, you know, whoever it is, Lovey, whoever, that's the goal.
Why did you work for Fox? Why did you decide to work for Fox with everything that's going on with Fox News?
Absolutely. Well, and I started working there before all that. Again, because it's intentional. Because this is an audience, y'all, on any given night, especially when O'Reilly was there. 3-4 million people are tuning into Fox News that ordinarily are not going to know Angela, a DJ Envy, a Charlotte. They don't even see Black people. Y'all, I'm talking about in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Missouri, flyover country is what we call it. And that's what Roger Ailes, the late founder, designed it to do, to address flyover country. And now we would love to think that what these people think about us doesn't matter, right? Who cares what they think? I was a trial lawyer before I was in broadcasting. I was a criminal defense lawyer, public defender, representing people that looked more like us than them.
Right.
When you put 12 people in a box to try a case, I'm talking about jurors, their opinions of us matter a lot. Right. We saw that Trayvon Martin's case. When you look at George Zimmerman getting acquitted for shooting his kid with no weapon, you're like, how does this happen? I'll tell you how it happens. Because we have not been personalized or humanized to many of these people that ordinarily, again, do not engage or understand the humility and the humanity of Black Americans. So I went to Fox, DJ Envy, for the specific goal of humanizing a little bit,
those
incremental
people watch
steps.
Fox News.
Correct. Now, am I going to change the whole landscape? No, of course not. But those incremental changes of, you know what, I thought Black Lives Matter was a Klan terrorist organization. And then, and many of them still think that. But a few of them, because I have the emails to prove it, say, you know what? You at least made me think about it. Mm-hmm. You at least made me consider another point of view. And so that feels a little important.
That's why I initially went on Tommy's show, because that was her rhetoric.
To reach that audience.
Absolutely, because I feel like whenever there's a false narrative out there about Black people, we should use our platforms to correct that narrative.
I think
and
so.
if I got to go on your platform to talk to those people to let them know
that's important.
No, that's not the case, I'm absolutely going to do that.
Now, Ebony, you also consider Bill O'Reilly to be a mentor.
He absolutely is, and Bill is nobody's perfect human, and we all know that. But he was. I mean, that's just the truth. Speaking of platforms, when I was busting through trying to get on media by any means necessary, and I was very, very aggressive, just like I walked up to you, I have a whole list of hundreds of people I have cold called, reached out to that I never heard from. O'Reilly found me. He heard my talk radio show in L.A. on KFI AM 640 breaking down the Zimmerman verdict, and he asked me to come on his show. I'd never seen Fox News before that. I knew who Bill was, never saw the show, but I went on and I spoke to that audience, and from there it became a life of its own.
Speaking of Tommy, she's at Fox News now.
She is, yeah. She just was hired as a colleague 2 weeks ago, maybe, and she's heading up their digital component, which I think will be a huge presence.
So you like her personally? Like, you like Tommy? Or
I don't want to misrepresent it, Angela, because I've never hung out with her personally. My extent of my relationship with Tommy is I interviewed her when I was filling in for Alan Combs on the radio. We had a decent interview, and then she's been on the Fox News Specialist as a guest on my show, and it's fine. Because I think agreement is overrated. You know what I mean? I think agreeing on the issues is a bit overrated. I don't know that facilitates growth or progress. But I think the engagement, the dialogue is very important.
Do you find it frustrating sometimes at work, though?
I think my temperament, Angela, and that's why I went into this work, because I think my legal training, the way I grew up, because my mom isn't no big, it kind of prepares me for a level of tolerance and a temperament that really goes well with this line of work.
I felt like that about engagement maybe a year ago, a year and a half ago.
It feels different to you now?
I feel different because after just seeing how Donald Trump has empowered certain people and seeing the views that they have, like when you see guys marching saying gays will not replace us, Jews will not replace us, blacks will not replace us, I'm not engaging with them.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, I agree with that. There is a level where it's just like completely crazy, but I think when you can kind of more pick apart the issues, and I try to bring that legal lens, Angela, to the conversation as often as possible, because then that cuts through a lot of noise. I think there's so much emotion in the dialogue these days, and we can get past some of the emotion, maybe we can get to some resolution.
But then some people are just hell-bent on misunderstanding us as well.
Oh, yeah, there's a narrative around us that feels comfortable for certain people. And actually in the book, Desiree Rogers, Obama's former social secretary, talks about that specifically. There's a comfort in many people in this country feeling that we as Black folks don't have access, don't have, credentials, don't have all these things that many of us know we do have. And when you start disrupting those narratives, that breeds a lot of uncomfortability.
Well, let's talk about the title of the book. You just mentioned the book.
Pretty powerful.
Pretty powerful.
Parent, substance, and success.
Yeah.
Why?
It's about the balance between being pretty and having substance.
In that order. In that order. Because the truth is, when I walked through the studios this morning, and I've never met any of you before, except I did meet you, but you don't remember Charlamagne. That's okay.
It's okay. Tiffany had the same story.
Don't worry about it.
That's not true. Tiffany did not have the same story.
You want to take a picture with it.
I'm certain that there was an assessment about who I was and what I represented and what I valued just the minute I walked through the door based off of just how I presented physically. And that's the truth when you go in any interview room, whether it's at McDonald's or Goldman Sachs.
So you don't believe in something like the Slut Walk, where they're saying, don't judge me based on...
Oh, I think Amber Rose and Blac Chyna and all those women have every right to do a slut walk. I get that. But I also, much of what I do, y'all, is about the aspirational utopia of when that doesn't matter what we look like as women. I love that. Somebody should be fighting for that. When nobody judges us on what we are as Black folks, I love that. I think people should be fighting for that. I'm more of a in the meantime type of woman. In the meantime, while we are still so unfairly criticized and scrutinized about what we look like as women, much of this book is about how do we empower ourselves. We know we're going to get picked apart, right? We know what the underbelly, the nasty downside of it feels like. what's the positive?
Right.
What's the flip side that says when I walk in the room, you're so taken with like, who is this woman? And now I'm about to blow your mind with what I know about what I'm about to talk about. And now you can't stop me and I get whatever I want.
So you saying
you even
use your
talked
looks.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
a lot
even
of people
talk
say-
about doing your radio show
Yeah.
and how you went in there
that's
at
funny.
first.
Yeah.
And you would, t-shirt, jeans.
I was chilling because I was like, you have to go so far in TV to look the part. So I was like thrilled, like, okay, this is a reprieve. So I'll go on radio, like no makeup, no nothing, no extensions, t-shirt, flip-flops, jeans, like I'm chilling. And they were like, are we not to be taken seriously just because this is radio? And I felt them. And no one said anything to me. And as you know, I'm in the article, Angela, but I could tell, you know what? I'm not respecting my workplace in this moment like I should be. So the next week, I gave it the proper due and I dressed the part.
But who gets dressed up for radio? See, I think a lot of times y'all be in your own
You
head.
say that, but I peeped game. No, I did. I said,
got on-
it's
sweats.
athleisure wear, but it's still intentionality behind what you put on, correct? Look at them. You got a message on your whole pants, Charlamagne.
Black by popular demand. Shout out to
That's
Black by popular
messaging.
demand.
Absolutely. So you have intention. I'm seeing you with I'm scared to ask who made those sneakers. I'm sure they're far out of my tax bracket. But it looks
Chanel.
Exactly. I knew it. I knew those flowers looked familiar. I was like,
I know
Chanel.
Fox pays well. Don't even try it, Ebony.
I'm an entry level. I'm entry level, Angela.
I'm going to tape Dr. Oz after this. I got a whole nother outfit for that.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, you got your sense on, shirt, like DJ, like there is intentionality and messaging behind what we look like,
Yes, DJ.
regardless.
Listen, when did you realize you had to have both those, as far as like pretty and stuff?
6 years old. The short answer is 6 years old. I detail it in the first chapter of the book. I was a child actress. Like, so I grew up, mom's a single mom, in poverty, free lunch
You're a beauty
kid.
queen, right?
Yeah, so what happened was my mom was like really ahead of her time. Very, very, not formally educated to the highest level, but very smart and very intelligent. And she was like, you know what? I'm raising a young black girl named Eboni in the South. She needs every opportunity.
What part of the South, by the way?
I was born in Amite, Louisiana, so
Okay.
rural South, and grew up in Charlotte, west side
Okay,
of Charlotte.
I'm from Columbia. I'm from
South Carolina.
Mounts Corner, South Carolina.
Yeah, right down 77.
There you go.
So she put me in pageants to give me a better opportunity.
Get
give me
the
stage
scholarship
cred,
money.
Get the scholarship money, all that jazz. So she was like, you know what? If people like it, if you have a look that's commercially appealing, I was doing commercial work, little back to school commercials and stuff like that. If I had a look that people wanted to use to sell a product, whether it's clothes or cars or groceries, I could use that look to sell a message. And so my message, like you're saying, Charlamagne, correcting false narratives about my community and people that I represent, that became very important.
Have you ever been sexually harassed at Fox News? Because you're like a piece of steak in a wolf's den.
No, I have not been sexually harassed at Fox News.
But
I
some people
detail
might
that.
consider that sexual harassment, what you did
what I
detail.
talked about.
So
Yeah.
detail that for us now.
But
Because some people
then they
might.
won't read the
Well,
book.
you can't give away everything in
but
the book.
It's not
I-
everything in the book, but there
But
is
there's a whole chapter. Andrew's referring to the chapter Truth and Consequences, Sexual Harassment. And I do a couple things in that chapter. I detail my 2 personal encounters one-on-one with Roger Ailes
Right.
in great detail. I basically recount the entire conversation. I also talk about the very obvious troubles and challenges the network has. And they've had lawsuits that have been publicly settled and all this stuff. So we talk about that in the book. And then I talk about Anita Hill and the last time as a nation we really tackled sexual harassment. I go through legal analysis around what sexual harassment is, best ways to prove it, underscores as to false claims and the badness of that. I talk about Trump and the extra Hollywood tape. And how
Grab him by the pussy.
yeah, and how for my mom as a Trump supporter was like, what's the big deal? I mean, that's how men
Lord
talk.
have mercy.
But it's not just her, Charlamagne. So many people felt that way in that moment that's how rich, powerful men speak.
But you
What's
know
the
what?
big
It
deal?
did make people feel like I have to do better.
Yeah.
And hopefully something like that happening for the guys. Even in here, you guys had this conversation
Yeah.
about, you know what? We do talk a little reckless sometimes.
Correct.
As men, we have to do better about how we talk about women.
So I talked about my own experience as a law student in the second year, being straight up sexually harassed. This professor adjunct tried to kiss me, and I never told my mom about
Your
that.
professor tried to kiss you?
Yeah.
He didn't even offer you a higher grade first?
No. He under the guise of mentorship, and I'm a big proponent of mentorship. I'm sure we all mentor kids and stuff like that, and I do it too. And he was like, "Oh, I'll review your resume. I'll help you, set it up so you can get a summer associate." I was thrilled, and then went and really, was assaulted. So I told my mom that for the first time though after the Trump tape came out, because I never told her because she's a protector, and she couldn't do anything about it. But I said, let me tell you what is not okay. That attitude, because you're normalizing egregious behavior in a way that's putting women at risk across the country.
What did you do when he tried to kiss you? You never
I'm
told
quick.
on him or nothing?
I'm quick.
You just
No, so I'm ashamed to say, quick with it. I never went back to that class. And so I never told the administrators, and I write about it in the book, Angela can tell you. I should have. I think I felt I wouldn't be believed. I think I felt it would cause a big stink. I think I felt then I would be that girl that got that guy in trouble. And I was 19.
And
Black professor?
that's what's so hard for women now.
Yeah.
Is that when you come forward with these allegations,
Sure.
people don't believe you. They act like it's your fault. You asked for it.
You're trying to be cute every day up in class. That's what you get.
Black
you know.
professor or white professor?
Black professor.
And you feel like nothing's going to happen because that's
yeah.
somebody more powerful than you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it was whack. But I counsel and mentor young ladies on how to deal with that now moving forward in a way that's a little bit more responsible than the way I did.
And I definitely think that's changed because of social media, because nobody wants to be labeled a rapist. Nobody wants to be labeled a sexual assaulter.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
No, it's a bad look.
Absolutely.
That's a
But
bad
so
look.
let me ask you this in the room, because you do, talk about some things that happen while at Fox. Now, guys, if you tell a woman that you work with, oh, you have some great legs, you should wear a short skirt and show them off. Is that sexual harassment in your
I
opinion?
wouldn't say that to no
I wouldn't say that either.
I wouldn't say that to no woman because of the climate we're in. I wouldn't say that.
Would you have said it 5 years ago?
I don't think so.
No, I
I
wouldn't
never
say that.
have.
Okay. Nah, me
I can
neither.
only answer that question based off things that I have said. I have never said anything
neither.
like that.
No, okay. Well, Angela's referring to that was said to me. I work in television, so it didn't feel like harassment per se. Inappropriate, strong, probably
Now,
suspect.
they said you have nice legs.
Yes.
I'll compliment your hair.
Okay.
Tell you that you smell good.
So you know what we're articulating here, and that's cool. It's a spectrum, and for some women, even the hair comment is like, "What you doing? Commenting on my hair? That's not your business." And other women, you tell, "Thank you."
Well,
Good.
see, here's the
you know,
problem.
Whatever.
As a man, I've been
Yeah.
raised, if a woman changes up her hair
To
and you don't
acknowledge it.
acknowledge it, then that's a bad thing.
Yeah, then you're in
Right.
trouble.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then some women, to Angela's point, feel like men's place is not to comment on our appearance whatsoever, period, point blank. So I think it's worth a conversation. And this book is not to draw bright lines in the sand and say, this is harassment, this is not, you say this, don't say this, whoop, whoop. It's to say, you know what, we need to kind of figure out where the comfort levels are, what feels appropriate, what's absolutely not appropriate under any circumstance, and get better with that.
Because it is there's a line between being uncomfortable and being harassed,
Yes.
you would say.
Yeah, and I think there was absolutely, as you'll see in that chapter, some uncomfortable moments, certainly some, like I really think it was too much, but it didn't feel worth it to me. That's what I talk about a lot, this evaluation of that's whack, probably crossed the line, probably could be considered harassment, but did I feel I needed to choose my integrity or my job? And it never got there from me. But I can't speak for my colleagues, and I don't profess to represent the experience of all those women at Fox News.
Now Charles Payne is back.
Charles is back. I know
after being
Charles
cleared of
well.
sexual harassment allegations. How does that make the environment at Fox now? Because I'm sure everybody's still looking at him like, no, I think he did it.
Well, I think everybody, as Charles has publicly admitted, had an affair, a long affair, 3 years, and apologized to his wife and family. I think that people felt, generally speaking, good that Charles was able to come back to work because he humbled himself. He admitted he did something morally. It was a moral failure. But when it comes to this issue of sexual harassment, quid pro quo, where you were holding your power position over somebody's head, through the investigation, that was found not to be true.
Do you feel comfortable around him?
Yeah, I mean, I work with Charles. Angela, you know the
actually-
part of the book.
You know what?
Yeah.
I actually went out to lunch with Charles one
Yeah.
day because I'm doing all this financial tips
So he was having
and
an affair
everything.
with you?
No.
No.
No, I actually hit him up just to have a sit down with him before all this happened.
Yep.
Just to have a sit down with him so he could give me advice.
And you felt
investing.
comfortable?
I felt very comfortable. He was very nice. He told me that his kids listen to the show. They love us.
Yep.
And he
I've
just
met his
gave
son.
me
Yeah, it's
he
great.
gave me some advice on investing and certain ways to do things that was actually really beneficial to me, and he was not inappropriate.
Yeah, and
But
I
you
mean,
don't work with him on a daily basis.
I know.
no, I work with
know.
him a lot. I used to have a standing segment on his show, and because I get that question all the time, why not you? Why are you immune to the whatever rotten culture?
Because you look like
Yeah,
you going
because you the cute one.
Because she looks like she was Sue.
You the cute one with the nice legs.
a lot of people
It's
are
the
cute
lawyer
with nice
background,
legs. I think a little bit. I think
Yeah.
the legal background kind of acts like a protective shield of sorts, and I'm not really one to be toyed with, but so much. I
Right.
would say.
Do you think that a woman who was unattractive would be in the position that you're in, like could be on Fox and...
Well, it depends on what you mean by attractive, because I talk about it in the book. Like attractive in 2017. I mean, we know what filters can do. We know what. No, honestly, we know what wigs, half wigs, clip-in tracks, lash extensions.
Stop wig shaming.
It's a new. No, I'm not wig shaming. In the New York Post piece, I talk about it on air. I wear a whole half wig. Her name is Vanessa. Like, that's real talk. You got to protect your real hair with the styling tools on the other hair, of course.
Right.
But yeah, so anybody, you don't have to be born looking like Halle or, Cindy Crawford these days.
You can make it happen.
You can make it happen. And that's what make it work. You got one good feature, make it work for you.
By the way,
Absolutely.
nobody's born looking like Halle or Cindy Crawford. They grew into the fine wine that they are.
They've always been some nice looking women.
But they've gotten better with time.
I agree. I think a lot of women peak around that 40 plus age range. Absolutely.
How hard is it being a liberal?
What?
Peak at 40.
That's good. Like mid-40s. Like, that's good.
Yeah,
When they
you should be getting.
Holly's 50 plus.
Well, that's true.
Angela
Okay, she hasn't
Bassett,
peaked yet.
50 plus.
Okay, you're
Pat
right.
LaBelle, 70 something.
Let me go up. Dang.
I don't think she means peak and then it's over. I think she
No,
meant.
I mean, like, they're getting right.
As you get
Yes,
older,
thank you,
cleared
Angela.
it up good.
Yeah.
Now, how hard is it being?
So silly.
Now, how hard
50 plus, yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know, 'cause I'm just thinking about
Janet, J-Lo,
Yes,
absolutely. No,
yes.
of course.
How hard is it being a liberal at Fox News?
Well, liberal, conservative, I wouldn't call myself a liberal. Other people do. I don't reject the label. That's fine. If you think I am, I think real liberals would probably scoff at that and be like, she's not liberal. I'm obviously not conservative. So, I say I present a contrarian viewpoint at Fox. I think that's absolutely true. I don't consider it hard, Charlamagne. I'm a trial lawyer, so I'm skilled, classically trained in presenting the adversarial counterpoint. And I've learned the hard way how to make those arguments in ways that are more effective than others.
Do you play white devil's advocate on purpose? Like you?
White devil's advocate.
Because you're in there with all these white people and you're hearing them talk, like you just throw things out there?
No, I really don't, because again, I'm trying to be heard. So it's all about effective. Juan Williams, who's a mentor of mine, who's been in Fox far longer than me, is like, there's communicating and then there's effective communicating. And if the goal is to, like I articulated, implement incremental changes with the way this particular viewership understands and perceives our community, then I have to be mindful of that. Doesn't mean you skirt on the authenticity or the substance, but you present it in a way that can be heard. Now, the docket was a deviation of that. I knew at some point I would not be heard after but it was important, y'all, on that day, in that moment, that I plainly state the obvious to that audience in particular.
Right. Which wasn't an unpopular opinion.
It was for that audience, though,
for that
Charlamagne.
audience,
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling that audience that the man that they, by and large, supported for the White House is okay with overt racists being a part of his base.
But there was a lot of conservatives who agreed with you
I know,
and had the same
were,
sentiments.
Yeah, so there's conservatives, and then there are President Trump supporters.
Yeah, okay.
And that's not necessarily the same thing in this moment.
I used to work with Eric Bowling.
Yep, Eric Bowling for a long time, on and off, so 5 years, cashing in, and of course I'm the specialist.
He got fired for sending lewd photos.
Yeah, there was a mutual parting of ways. Was it a conscious uncoupling with Mr. Bowling, Mr. Bowling and the network? Yeah, and it was really, really sad because before that news could digest, of course, the tragedy of his son
dying.
I mean, literally within 24 hours, and like I know I'm my mom's only kid, and I can't imagine what that must feel like to know, like, okay, this career thing is blowing up, and now your only child?
That's sad.
Yeah, my heart goes out to Bowling, and he actually just texted me in the green room, saying thank you. I had sent him some words of encouragement.
Did he text you a lewd photo ever?
He did not, ever. No, and again, I can't say that he ever texted anybody. I never saw the files on that, but it just isn't, I think, my nature, Charlamagne. I mean, if you were the sexual harassing type, do you think you would do it over here? You think so?
Nope. I can't even answer that question. I can't even get in the mind of why people sexually harass people, to be totally honest with you.
Yes, that's fair.
Like I just couldn't do it.
That's fair. That's good.
She's a trial lawyer.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
She don't take no ish, so that's why they don't really mess with her like that.
Yeah, I think, and that's not to say, as I'm putting on the book, Angela, I don't think I'm any smarter or stronger than any woman. I think a lot of men miscalculate that situation, and then they think, because also with the lewd picture, and again, this isn't even really about Bowling so much as I've never met one woman that got any of those types of pics and was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad he sent me this. No, I've literally never. I've never seen that go over well. Not one time.
Now, you were also told to get yourself a married boyfriend.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Who told you to do that?
You have to read the book, but someone
I
specifically.
Read this book so you can
read it. And it start with the sexual harassment chapter. It's a very quick read. Literally, you can read the whole book in like a weekend.
Why did they want you to get a married boyfriend?
Well, I'll tell you the context, and then you could probably guess who said it. I was told well, what's going on with your dating life? Which is always kind of weird when your employers ask you about that. But I'm like, okay, maybe this is an attempt to connect, right?
Okay.
This is an attempt to kind of like get personal and connect.
Really none of their business, but
No, totally not.
And you
but
could have said none of your business.
I could have said none of your business plainly. That's true. But instead, I skirted and said,
well, Mr. Ailes.
I said, you know what? I'm married to work right now, which was true at the time. You know, married to work right now. I'm on this grind. This takes up all my hustle and time and energy. So that's what I'm doing. Well, I got a solution for that. Get yourself a married boyfriend. Doesn't take up too much time, and supplements your
Side
income.
chick.
But then I said,
He was shooting his shot,
He
by
was
the way.
definitely shooting a shot.
but I also think he was trying to undercut my financial
Right.
pathway.
Like, I need somebody to take
I'm
care
like,
of
no, I
me.
don't need no supplement. I need your full support financially for this job I'm doing for you. That's that. You know, I felt like that was like a measuring of expectations fiscally.
Well,
And I
Roger
felt
Ailes knows
like,
how much you're getting paid because you work at his network.
correct. That's my point. Think about
And
it.
that's
Like, if
interesting
you're-
that was the takeaway
right.
that you got.
That was my takeaway. It
You're-
was like
it wasn't he's trying to holler at me. The takeaway was, oh, so y'all not going to try
you're trying to
pay
reduce
me.
my coins. Yeah, you're trying to get a supplemental package at the
Gotcha.
table so you can reduce my coins. Absolutely no, sir.
Were you not scared though? Like, because Roger Ailes has had a reputation, so when he says that to you, so what's your dating situation like? You're like, oh, here we go.
No, again, the age gap is so large, Charlamagne. I had no thought that he was trying to come for me. I really didn't. What my thought is that he's trying to assess the situation and figure out the whole. See, people, really brilliant people, which he was, in my opinion, really brilliant for all of his, moral failings. They're trying to look for opportunities and leverage at every corner. Everything is an opportunity. This is like my classical lawyer. This is like a deposition. You know what I mean? Trying to look for a weak moment, a weak spot, a place where I can use it against you later. So, that's the
So you
dance
feel
we
like
do.
people try to test you, try you, see if you might potentially be.
Absolutely. What's your
down.
end game? What's your end game? What are you in this for? Are you in this for money? Are you in this for fame? Are you in this for impact? Those are mainly the three reasons that people are in this business.
What's your end goal, Ebony? Like, where do you see yourself?
Impact is very important to me, Angela. Like I said, I actually transitioned from law to politics and broadcasting for a specific reason. It was around 2010. And if you recall that time, a lot of our representations of black women in particular, it was a little bit basketball wivesy and like running on tables and hitting each other and pulling weaves and all that stuff. It was pre like being Mary Jane and Olivia Pope and
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama, exactly. Some of these really proud representations I've noticed of black women in media in the last 7 years.
Ava DuVernay.
Oh my gosh, exactly. Yes. Just Viola Davis, How to Get
Issa
Away with
Rae,
Murder,
yeah.
Issa Rae, Insecure. So it was kind of pre this moment that we're having. So I felt there was a need, and one of my legal mentors, Butch Williams, used to always say, "Quickest way to success is find a need and fill it." So I felt like there was a need for stronger, more diverse representation of blackness. So I'm not hating on Basketball Wives or Real Housewives or any of that because
You
I
want
watch
diversity
it. Yeah, but
in the
diversity. So
representations.
instead of tearing down those women and sitting on Twitter hating and trolling on them and what they're doing in their hustle, which they're entitled to, I just wanted to go start something different. Go be a different representation of black womanhood, because I call it the unicorn factor. Like my friends, most of my college girlfriends and stuff, and we go out, and everybody always, especially our white counterparts, I've never met anybody like you. You're so special. Oh my God. It's like, no, I'm not special at all. All my friends are like this.
Right.
They're all bossed up. They're all beautiful. They're all highly educated, intelligent. Like, that's what we are. And y'all just don't know because you don't know black women.
And it's better when it makes the ecosystem better because it's more balanced. What's that quote? A rising tide lifts all boats.
That sounds amazing,
Yeah,
Charlamagne.
but because and what I'm saying
No,
is,
it does.
it's
I'm
easy to root for a Cardi B.
Yeah.
When you have a Issa Rae,
Absolutely.
and a Ava,
Yeah.
and a Tiffany Haddish, whoever, you got all of this out there. That you got all these other,
Taraji P, all this
there
stuff.
you go.
And
There you go. You're not tearing nobody down.
I have a bachelor's degree in African American Studies along with communications from Chapel Hill, and one of our Blacks in Films class talked about the problem isn't the Aunt Jemima or the Sambo caricature. It's the fact that those are the only representations
Yes.
we had for so long. So it's
Right.
the limitation of the representations, to your point. So it's not hating on them, hating on the Carrie B's, hating on the
Cardi
Nene
B.
Leakes. Oh, excuse
Cardi
me,
B.
Cardi B. That's the one show I don't
So that was
watch. I'm
somebody else. Was it
sorry.
Cardi B?
I'm sorry, Cardi B. But it's like you said, it's cultivating your own platform, cultivating your own representation of black womanhood, and doing that.
You made me think about something else too when it comes to like Fox News and Roger Ailes. Another reason I could never be a sexual harasser is because I feel like that's a true test of a person's character. Like when you have that kind of power, when you're in a position of power like that, but you use that power to manipulate people and make people compromise themselves for positions, like you're just a terrible person to me.
Evil.
It is evil. Let me ask you this, because you are a huge figure in the industry and you work with
Really?
Angela. You know that. You work with Angela, but you work with women. And are you conscious of it? Are you aware of the fact that if you, let's say I'm a 22-year-old young woman and I want to, do this career, and I say, Charlamagne, can I take you for a drink or coffee? Do you think about that? Do you think about the optics of that? What it looks like? You look like
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that.
Nah, I rather let's come meet here. Come to my office if I come. I wouldn't.
So you're
do
conscious,
that.
and I think that's
absolutely.
fair. And I talk about that. Mike Pence, vice president, he period won't take no woman nowhere unless it's his wife, and he got a lot of shade for that. Personally, I think you protect your marriage or your relationship however you need to. But I'm excited. I'll have a conversation with a prominent man in media as well coming up soon. I'll be able to announce. Well, we talk about that, how the male-female mentorship dynamic is something we need to look at, because I submit that I need to be mentored by the best. I don't give a damn if it's man, woman, black, white, purple, or brown. So sometimes there's an occasion that I will need that. Even though I had that unfortunate experience at law school, I can't afford to not be mentored by men. Right. That's not on the table.
I prefer working with women. Everybody around me is a woman.
with women.
Absolutely.
Why?
I just think they're more creative. I think they're more organized, and I think they execute.
Yeah.
And I think it's a level of it's no
Shout out to Angela Yee. Go ahead.
it's no insecurity. It's no jealousy. It's no envy more so when it comes to working with guys.
No, I work with
said
mostly
no envy.
women, but I work with everybody.
that's
My
good.
attorney's a
Pun
woman.
intended.
Yeah, I work with women. Absolutely, positively.
And
My
I don't
sisters.
hesitate to reach out to men
Right.
if I have a question or I want to have a sit down.
Yeah, and you
I
should.
sometimes think it's easier for women to get that sit down
With men.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I write about it in the Meghan McCain chapter, Mean Girls, and I've had some amazing female mentors. I want to point that out. But sometimes women can be other women's worst enemy because we have this mistaken mentality
There
that
can only be
only
one.
tokenism.
You cannibalize each other.
Yeah. And we get it honest, right? Because we've historically been marginalized, just like we as black folks, and we think that, only one chosen one can make it out.
And sometimes other people make you feel like that.
Yeah, they reinforce it.
Right.
Absolutely.
There can only be one female rapper. There can only be one that's the best.
One
And
female talk show host, one female on primetime, and all this silliness. Like I remember when Being
coming
Mary
for your
Jane,
slot. They
when
always
Being
say
Mary
that.
Jane came out, it's like, well, there's already Angela Pope, or Olivia Pope. Like, what is this? Because when you look at white men, they don't do that to one another. Generally speaking, there's plenty of white men on the news.
And they all look alike. They don't
Charlamagne
care.
said that, not me. But they don't care. They don't care. They make space for one another because they trust that there's enough to go around. And that's a message that I want to really resonate with this book and with my whole journey, is that there is plenty. Like I believe in a God that believes and blesses plentifully. And I do not believe in scarcity. And there's plenty to go around, just like there's enough for me. And people told me the same thing. Don't go into that industry. There's already Sunny Holston, and there's already so-and-so. And that's ridiculous. Sunny's a mentor of mine. She's been very helpful and supportive. Sunny was at Fox before me. Sunny used to do a weekly segment with O'Reilly as well. She made the appetite better for someone like me. She made me more palatable for a Fox News audience. And I believe and trust that I've made it more palatable for those that come behind me. And that's something that's very important to me, too. Like, I really work to usher in other black talent at Fox News specifically, because I could get hit by an M60 bus tomorrow. So if I'm not there, how is the network different and better than before I was there?
Why is that your choice of death? You want to get
An
hit by a
M60
bus?
Well, or,
You're so specific. You didn't even say bus. You said M60.
Well, because I took one not too long ago.
One almost hit her or something. Jeez.
Yeah. Flashbacks.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank y'all
Pretty
so
powerful.
much.
Appearance, substance, and success.
And by the way, timing is everything. We met each other how long ago at Kennedy's?
That was about a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago.
And look at God.
Exactly.
Won't he
Like,
do it?
Boom.
Hashtag
Perfect
won't he
timing.
do it? Perfect time. And congratulations on your book as well, Black
Thank
Privilege.
you. I appreciate
and
it.
I know
really
we'll have
good.
Ebony back up here again. So.
I hope so. Thank you, Angela. This was great.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's The Breakfast Club. It's Ebony Williams.